Hi, my name is Nikita, and today I will talk about Project Fugu. But first, I am Nikita Dubko. I am a web developer with experience about 15 years in web. I am a podcaster. We have web standards podcasts. I am Dungeons and Dragons master, and that's my free time. And today we will talk about fugu, but what is fugu? Fugu is a fish and a dish. It's Japanese traditional dish with not really. It can be lethal for people, because this fish it contains tetrodotoxin in its blood, so. Yeah, you should cook it really carefully. But it's Japanese food. But why do we talk about it on a web conference? Project Fugu, it's a project, it's Chromium project about web capabilities. And it named Fugu because these capabilities can be a little bit dangerous, but they are really delicious, and you can use these capabilities to make the world better a little. If we talk about native applications, you have a lot of possibilities. You have a lot of capabilities connected with operational system. For example, if we talk about Android applications, you can use some sensors, some light sensors, ambient lighting sensor, some video, and so on. You don't have such capabilities from web application, because when we work with browser is a middleware between operational system and your application. So if browser gives you some capability, you can use it. And of course, operational system can have a lot of capabilities. It can work with any device connected to operational system, but you can't do it from your web application. So if you have some kind of web app capabilities, of course, operational system has much more capabilities. And the project Fugu is about to give you such capabilities. You will use them. You can use some of them right now. And let's discuss such APIs. Of course, you can ask, just enable these capabilities. Why don't I use it right now? But not so simple. Of course, we have some privacy concerns. If you have, for example, face detection API, it's not really private. It's really easy to fingerprint you with your face. And if we have geofencing API, of course, you can track my location. You can give me some advertisements connected with my geolocation, and I don't really want it. So privacy is a real concern about such capabilities. And of course, Mozilla Firefox has some negative thoughts about such APIs. For example, they said that WebNVC, no. WebHID API, no. And so on. WebUSB API, no. But some of them maybe someday. Of course, this is about privacy, and Firefox is about privacy. You can find WebKit feature status page. And I have links in right bottom corner of my slides, so you can click all of them after the talk, of course. So this page, WebKit feature status, you can find that battery status API, no. Idle detection, no. And WebKit maybe will not implement such APIs. And you can find standards positions of WebKit on GitHub, and you can ask them, why? Please implement something. But maybe they will answer you. And of course, we talk about Chromium project. And you can ask, just Chromium? And why why do we talk about it? It's just Chromium. It's not popular APIs. 1 second, please. If we talk about some APIs connected with Fugu API, we talk about Chromium. Chromium, it's not only Chrome. It's Chromium browsers. Edge is a Chromium browser. So if we talk about Web Bluetooth, it's available on almost 75% of your users. You can make 75% of your users happier. And when your user is happy, it can bring money to your business, of course. And if you make some really useful feature connected with such APIs, you can have more money to add more new awesome features. So use progressive enhancement. It's really great way to make your application better. And there is a great article by Thomas Steiner on web dev, and you can find useful tips. At first, you can detect if there is an API in your browser, in client browser, of course, in user's browser. And if you have some kind of detection, for example, if we talk about contact picker API, then, only then, import your module connected with such functionality. And yeah, you don't need to load all JavaScript that will not work in browser. Just load it when it's necessary. And yeah, bundle is not so big with such way. And yeah, you can use old way, try catch. You can try to use some web API if you can detect it another way. So if you haven't any error, just use it. But if you have error, so it's progressive enhancement. Sometimes it just don't work, you know. And okay, but some people will work without such APIs, without such features, but a lot of them will work with really great APIs. And you can find a lot of Fugu APIs on Fugu API tracker page. Such of APIs, a lot of really much APIs, and yeah, it's not really it's not updated for a while, but I believe maybe next weeks we will have updates on this page. So let's play a little game. I will ask you, can we do something in web app right now? If we can, just in your mind, answer yes or no, and I will give a little bit more information about APIs. So let's start. The first question: can we work with Bluetooth in web application? 3, 2, 1. Of course, yes. I said it before, and there's a great article on web dev about communicating with Bluetooth devices. And yeah, you can use really simple API. You know, Bluetooth devices are not so simple, but you can use navigator.bluetooth.requestDevice, and this method will do a lot of hardware processes to use such devices. And you know, you should add some options, filters to connect only to devices you really need to work with. Why? Because of privacy. If you will work with all Bluetooth devices, it's not so private, you know. And yeah, it's really simple connecting, but it's not so simple to work with Bluetooth device, but just try to use it. And it's a really ancient API, I don't know. You can work with it a lot of years. And next question: can we change macOS touch bar from web application? You know, on macOS, on MacBooks, we have on some models touch bar with icons that can be changed from applications, and some native applications use it. So what do you think? Can we change it from web application? 3, 2, 1. No. And you know, we had an issue. We have an issue in Chromium connected with macOS Touch Bar API, but it looks like Apple makes Touch Bar dead. And if Touch Bar is dead, why do we need such APIs? But maybe someday they will return Touch Bar on their devices. Okay, can we add a badge to an app icon? You know, if we have some kind of PWA, if we have a separate icon on our desktop, it's cool to add some notification badge if we talk about mailing application, if we talk about Messenger or so on. So, can we add a badge? 3, 2, 1. Yes, we can. And thanks Pete LePage for an article badging for app icons. It's really simple, you know. Just use set app badge method of navigator object, and that's all. If it works, it just works. And if you in PWA, if you had separate application, so we will have something like that. Of course, it's fake screenshot because Gmail is not PWA and it's iOS. We don't have PWA on iOS, unfortunately. But maybe someday. But you will have something like that. You will have notification badge with some number, and it's really useful for some applications. Okay, next question. Can we verify user using SMS? Of course, if we have HTML attribute, one-time code, and it can do a lot of work for us, but if we want to work with it from JavaScript, can we do that? 3, 2, 1. Yes, we can. There is a web OTP API, one-time password API, and you can receive SMS on your device. This SMS will be transferred to your JavaScript, and it's really easy to use it. You know, we have navigator credentials. You can subscribe to transport SMS, and when you will receive some SMS on your device, we will have a promise that will return OTP object with code, and you can use this code. You can submit your form from JavaScript. It's really useful, so why not? And next question, can we recognize handwritten text? Imagine if your users will use tablets, I don't know, some kind of devices that can use handwritten, and it will be fun to allow them write anything, and you will be you can use some API to recognize this text. So 3, 2, 1. Yes, we can, but only on Chrome OS. And why? Because it's really hardware feature. If we have hardware API, if we have hardware capability to recognize text, maybe we can transfer this feature to web application. Unfortunately, not every operational system can do that, but Chrome OS can. And yeah, it will look something like that. You have create handwritten recognize method on Navigator, and it has some kind of options. You can recognize some languages. You can say please only English languages, and yeah, it will work. You can do something with this recognizer. It works with probabilities. It's not about really accurate recognizing, but yeah, on Chrome OS you can make your users happier. And I believe in artificial intelligence. Maybe someday we will have such a possibility on every operational system, but let's just wait. Okay, next question. Can we spell check with JavaScript in the web application. Of course, you have text areas, and you can pass some text into them. You will have this red borders in the bottom. But can we spell check text with JavaScript? It can be useful for Canvas, for example. No, we can, but we have an issue. We have an issue connected with spellcheck API, and sometimes we need it when we work with Canvas and we draw some text on that canvas. So it will be really useful to spell check something. So maybe someday we will have it, but not now. Next question. Can we turn off the device? You have operational system capability to turn off the device. And maybe it will be fun to have a button on a website, turn off my iPhone, and it just works. No, just no. We don't have such capability, and I believe we will not have such capability. No time for that. Please, just no. Okay, next question. Can we disable locking the screen from web application? Sometimes we have really useful features, but they work for 5 minutes, for example. Or maybe you really need to have enabled your browser tab. So it's really useful to disable locking the screen when on mobile phones and so on. And what do you think? Can we disable it? Yes, we can. And it has a name, Screen Wake Lock API, and it works, and it looks like that. You have wake lock object in Navigator. You can request this wake lock, and if a system allows it to you, and if a user allows it to you, you will have event listener about releasing wake lock. So just request wake lock, work with your application, don't be afraid of locking the page, and of course release this log after you did all you needed. Great feature. And what do you think? Can we pick colors from the screen? Not only your application. I'm talking about entire screen, or maybe different screen. It's really useful for me to pick colors for some kind of images for use. Why not? Yes, we can. We have eyedropper API, and it's really simple to use. Just use a new eyedropper. You have open method in that eyedropper, and when you call open, it will open something like that. It's a photo, it's not screenshot, because when you need to make a screenshot, it disappears. So you should make a photo of picking a color, and it's not my photo, it's from an article. So but I use it a lot. You just open eyedropper, and after the user clicks on the screen, you have sRGB hex result. You have RGB color, and you can use it, for example, for website themes. I don't know. Okay, next question. Can we get illuminance data from web application? If I talk about illuminance, it's about my illuminance around me. It can be useful, for example, if I am in a dark room, I can change to the application to the dark theme, for example. If I am really bright room with bright lightness, I can change the application to really light theme, and so on. So 3, 2, 1. Yes, we can, but behind the flag. And it's really simple. You have ambient light sensor, and the sensor gives you some events. You can subscribe to them, but it's about privacy. Ambient. If you have a way to get my ambient light around me, it's really private information. And Firefox had such ambient light sensor enabled in their browser, but they disabled it because of privacy. And but if you have, I don't know, users that can enable a flag in a browser, maybe you can add some interesting feature. I have this feature enabled. Why not? Next question, can we control screen brightness? You can switch to dark theme, you can switch to light theme, but sometimes, for example, if you have some messenger with QR codes and you can share this QR code in a bright room or maybe outside, it's really cool to make the screen brighter. Just to have a possibility to scan this QR code under the sun. So, can we control it? 3, 2, 1. No. But we have Screen Wake Lock API. I told about it. And, it's a really good explainer that can maybe someday will become a specification. And it will look something like that. Maybe we will have wake lock request with options, and one of option will be increase brightness, and why not? Maybe it will be request brightness increase on a screen object. Let's wait. I don't know, but it's under discussion right now. Next question. Can we work with lock screen? On Android, we have lock screen with widgets. In iOS 16, we also have lock screen with widgets. And it's really cool to have PWA that can have some widgets on this lock screen. For example, for weather application, money application, I don't know, news application. So we can't do it right now, but we have an issue in Chromium Bug Tracker, and you can find that September 14, it's really near in the past, they have a little bit of development. They enabled it under the flag Key Web Lock Screen API, so maybe in the near future we will have such possibility. Why not? And it will look something like that. You will have app manifest, like web manifest for PWA, and you should add start URL to display the widget. And you can share the data between your application and that widget with get lock screen data method for window. Let's wait. I believe it will be really interesting to use it from web application. Okay, next question. Can we work with Sony DualShock from web application? I'm talking not only about gamepad API. I'm talking about vibrations, sensors, and so on. Sony DualShock has a lot of sensors, and I want to work with them, with all of them. And 3, 2, 1. Yes, we can. If you heard about HID devices, HID human interfaces devices, HID devices, that's okay. But great article on WebDev, just read it. You can work with HID devices, and I have a separate talk on JS Nation about controlling everything via USB. Almost everything, of course. But I worked with DualShock vibrations, sensors, and I've connected Stream Deck device. It's a special device for streamers. So you can work with USB devices that have HID human interface devices type. So just click the link and try to watch my talk about WebHID API. Next question. What do you think? Can we detect users' inactivity from web application? Of course, you can try to detect mouse movements, but sometimes it's keyboard users. Okay, you can try to detect keyboard key ups, key downs, and so on. But do we have some mechanism to work just with browser API? Yes, we have. It's named Idle Detection API, and of course you can find an article on WebDev. It looks something like that. You have idle detector object, and you can have event change. You can add event listener change to this idle detector, and it has some info, some statistics. You have user state, you have screen state. User state, it's about user inactivity, and screen state, it's about locking the screen, for example. So just start this idle detector and you can work with it. Really useful for applications that really need to know about users' activity, for example. Next question. What do you think? Can we generate PDF right from web application? It will be a useful feature for a lot of websites with some kind of reports, for example. Unfortunately, no. But we have an issue in Chromium bug tracker, and maybe someday we will have such possibility. Right now we have CSS print media, and you can just print your web page with separate print rules, and it's some kind of hack, but we have some possibility to work with PDF right from browser. Okay. What do you think? Can we control multiple screens from web applications? Right now, I have 3 screens. 3. And it will be really useful to have one screen for my presentation, my slides, another screen for my speaker notes. And, native applications, they have such capability, but I don't have it in web applications. So what do you think? Do we have such capability? Yes, we have. It's named Multi-Screen Window Placement API, and thanks Thomas Steiner again for great article. You can work with separate screens, and you have a method, get screen details. It's a method of window, and you can find screens for screen details, and you can find primary screen, not primary screen. You can request full screen for this screen, only for this screen. And it has a lot of possibilities. Just read the article, and it will be really useful for my presentation in Gene, for example. Maybe someday I will add something like that to show in Gene. Okay, next question. What do you think? Can we detect CPU utilization from web application? It can be useful if you have, for example, a video player in your web application, and if CPU is too overloaded, you can decrease computations, you can decrease quality of video, for example, just to have really great user experience, not disabled video. So what do you think? 3, 2, 1. Yes, we have, but behind the flag, of course. It's not. It's fresh feature. It's a really new feature, and you can observe compute pressure. It looks something like that. You can create a callback with an object that passed to arguments, and if you connect this callback with compute pressure observer, it will have CPU speed, CPU utilizations CPU utilization fields, properties. You can work with them. These thresholds, you should add them as an options to compute pressure observer. So just try to use it. I believe it will be really useful to detect if your application is too heavy for browser. It can be a real user metric, for example, or maybe for video applications, gaming applications, I don't know. Okay, can I use these APIs right now? I heard a lot of them, but can I use them? Maybe we have something like can I use for such applications. We have really great showcase on WebDev, of course. No, maybe it's not WebDev. Okay, but Thomas Steiner collects really great showcase with Project Fugu APIs usages. And it's a page. You have a filter. You can find something, for example, pointer log, and you can find a lot of you can find three applications that they use pointer log API, screen wake log API. Okay, we have such applications, 4 applications. You can find their source code. You can use them as an example to how to work with it. And it's really cool. I want to add some new application here, maybe my application, I don't know. And Thomas Steiner has really great extension, browser extension, and it's named Detected Project Fugu APIs. You can add this extension, and when the page in a web has something like Fugu API, it tries to find it in the source code and tries to find out if this feature is supported by your browser. Really cool extension, but I made my own page, Project Fugu Detector, and this page is about it's a list of all available Fugu APIs on Fugu API Tracker. I used the data from that site, and I tried to detect if this feature can be enabled in your web browser. Not all features can be detected because some of them are about web manifest. I can detect web manifest features because it's just JSON, and but you can try to open that page on old mobile device, for example, and you will see if this mobile device can work with, I don't know, web Bluetooth, for example. Open that page. You're welcome. And it's on GitHub. So if you have some ideas how to make this page better, create an issue or maybe pull request, you're welcome. So what's next? What kind of APIs should we wait in the near future? At first, please subscribe to Fugu API Tracker. You can update this page every day and find something new. It's really useful page. You can find Chromium bugs in their tracker, and you can subscribe to some kind of bugs and to these features. You can subscribe to them, and you will have updates connected with your favorite API. Next, you can find calendar meetings connected with Project Fugu. They had a meeting, Project Fugu, what we have enabled in past in September 14. You can find it in W3C TPAC calendar, and they have notes on such meetings, so just open their notes and you can find a lot of interesting information about Fugu API future. I really love to read such notes. And on the meeting on TPAC in September, they had Project Fugu, what we have enabled presentation. Just use the link and you can find that Project Fugu is really in progress. It's really it has updates every year, a lot of updates. So we will have really cool features in the future, I believe. So what if you want to participate? If you want to add some capability to web? There is an article on WebDev. You can find a special process about adding some feature to browser. At first, you should identify the need. You should describe why do you need such capability. Why do you need some new options, some new methods, some new objects. You should motivate Chromium engineers to listen to you at first. Next step, just write an explainer. Explainer, it's like draft specification. It has some kind of early syntax of your feature. It has some kind of concerns about that feature. It should have a privacy section because all Fugu APIs they have such section about privacy. How should engineers to work with privacy and this feature at the same time? And the next step is to become a project manager. You should find the engineer who will implement your explainer in the browser under the flag. Next step is about getting the feedback on WebDev 2, for example. And after you will have this feature implemented in Chromium, you can try to create a specification, a real formal specification. And it's really interesting, but sometimes boring process, but you can try. And after that, you will have origin trial in a browser, maybe with some kind of iterations, but after that, it will be shipped in Chromium, Chrome, Edge, and so on. So you can make a world better just try to identify the need, start with something. And that's all. Thank you for your attention. Please try to use new APIs, try to make your users happier. I believe we should have a lot of native capabilities in our web applications. Thank you.